year, millions of women marry who they believe to be their knight in shining armor. Unfortunately, in many marriages, the husband turns out to be the very monster that he has promised to protect his wife from. In these cases, women are forced to live a life filled with fear and violence. These women are sometimes put into a life or death situation or pushed past their breaking point after years of abuse. Battered women may feel the only way out of their living hell is to take the life of their tormentor. Women who murder their spouses should be granted clemency because they were given no other way to protect themselves, and they should receive counseling from a professional instead of a prison sentence. The statistics on the number of battered women is very alarming. According to www.pbs.org, domestic abuse is a huge problem, a national problem, and probably even an international problem. Victims are sometimes beaten or abused on a daily basis. Statistics also state that women who murder their abusers are usually older, have been in a relationship for several years, and have experienced sexual assaults as well. Furthermore, battered women who killed or seriously assaulted their partners were more likely to believe that their lives were in danger, were less likely to use violence against others, and were less likely to have a prior criminal record or to have served time previously. They are also controlled by death threats on themselves and their loved ones. These threats are what keep women from being able to leave their horrific relationships. Many women have turned to community and government programs put in place to help protect them from these kinds of situations, but these programs are unable to provide protection 24 hours a day. In most situations, this only angers the abuser more and increases the chance of him severely injuring or even killing his victim. This is why these solutions cannot always be effective and leave women to depend on self-protection. Battered women should be granted clemency because it is immoral and illogical to treat these women like cold-blooded murderers. Daily beatings and continuous abuse cause women to become mentally traumatized. Psychologists refer to this as battered women syndrome and would explain the action of killing. This syndrome can be offered as a defense for women accused of murder. Lawrence Buster described how Gail Owens used this as her defense. Women who suffer from battered women syndrome should be offered extensive therapy for their rehabilitation. Luckily, there is a treatment plan in place for these women. Even though they are now free from their abusive situation, help to change their thought process and behaviors is greatly needed. Once therapists have determined what has caused the most trauma, the abused women are able to discuss and understand what they have been through. Treatment can also help women regain their self-confidence. Their newly discovered self-worth really helps the women begin to heal. I also found an organization on www.womenprisoners.org that consists of activists, attorneys, therapists, students, community members, and other dedicated individuals who strive to end the re-victimization of battered women in prison. Women who are convicted of murder do not receive the therapy and counseling needed to rebuild their lives. These women are put in yet another abusive situation. Women are 8 times more likely to be killed by their prison roommate than men. On average, a woman convicted of killing her spouse or significant other is sentenced to at least 15 years, even though she was acting in self-defense. According to www.purpleberets.org, there are currently about 2,000 women being held in our correctional facilities for defending their lives. While I was researching, I found on www.freebatteredwomen.org that most women incarcerated for killing their spouse have long served the minimum amount of time required by law and do not pose a threat to public safety and have yet to be released. Women who are placed in prison are also unavailable to their children. Even though their children may not have been the target of abuse, they are victims as well. www.AAETS says that even witnessing violence can leave emotional scars as deep as being the recipient of violence. Children who have witnessed domestic abuse need their mother's help to recover from their own trauma. It is cruel and unnecessary for our system to send these mothers away. All women are someone's sister, daughter, niece, or granddaughter and should be treated with love and respect. No one deserves to live a life filled with violence and fear, especially at the hand of someone who has promised to love and cherish them. All abuse is wrong and should be prevented at all costs. There is never any reason for a man to beat, batter, or sexually abuse his wife. These acts are against the law, But when law enforcers are unable to protect women who suffer from domestic abuse, they should be able to protect themselves without prosecution. This is why abused women who kill their husbands should be granted clemency.